Hey everyone, my name is Victor and I'm with Shape Design Technologies, an Esprit reseller and service provider for over 14 years based out of Houston, Texas. And we build tools for people who work inside of Esprit every day because we work in Esprit every day. So I wanted to show you one of the add-ins that we are working on, and this will be available soon on our online store. And I wanted to show you some of the things that we're working on. First one is going to be this Lathe setup assistance over here, which helps us with some of these type of machines, sub-spindle machines, and setting up the machine setup when it comes to the work coordinate once you put your part in there and everything else like that. So what I have this app doing over here, is this Lathe setup assistant, is it has me align the part first. So if I wanted to do this side first, this is the OD I want to do. It gives me kind of what the dimensions are. So here I'm going to say maybe it's 2 inch diameter. Maybe I'm starting out with a 12-inch stick of material. I'm going to line it up along the Z face and maybe 50 thousandths of stock. I'm going to create the stock. I am going to put it on my main spindle. I'm going to stick it out maybe 2 1/4, stick it out. And then I'm going to mount it on this selector chuck right here. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it. And now we have our piece mounted here on our chuck. And it also sets up your sub spindle for your, so it measures from the face of the jaw over to the face of the part in order to get your machine number for your work coordinate. That was our late setup assistant add-in. This next card on this productivity is going to be a GDML authoring tool. So it's a GDML builder. I'm going to skip over this mill setup because it's not complete yet. But we're going to go into this GDML builder over here where we can do mill tool holders, this true tool, lathe chuck and jaws, mill vise, and then custom fixture and turning tools that are going to be coming soon as well. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in a model that I got from the Sandvik website over here, and I'm going to make this a tool. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to go to my GDML builder over here, and I'm going to author a mill tool holder. I can do static holders, I can do live tool holders or right angle heads or angular heads. I can also do extensions, so this could be an extension for like C6 to Capto or Capto to C6 or whatever extensions some of these holders have. So I'm going to, right now I'm not going to use the alignment tools because it already came in aligned how I want it. Sandvik is pretty good about that. So I'm going to tell the app that the model is already aligned. And I'm going to call this what the tool actually is. And I'm going to bring it in right there. And so it's going to want me to pick a face where the tool comes out. And that's it. So I'm going to go build holder GDML. And so it built that one right there. So now if I go to my machine setup and I bring in a machine, then I can go here to my tool assemblies, add an adaptive item, and here's this one that I just created right here. There you go. Then we can add an end mill to it. And that's very useful for when you're creating a bunch of tools. You don't have to go in here and start creating the HAs and the TAs. It already, the app already does it for you. Next one I wanted to show you was a situation where you have like an angular head like this. I go again to my GDML builder, go to, this would be an angle head. It'll be considered axial. It's no difference in the math and stuff that I'm doing. So we just make it as an axial angle head. I'm going to place it manually because it's already where I need it to go. You can put as many spindles as you want. Actually, I think I have a limit up to 6 on the spindles. And if you have a live tool holder that has 2 sides, for instance, then you can put 2 spindles. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick the edge where the tool comes out. So this is where the tool comes out. The plane is good. I don't need to flip it. So I'm going to confirm that. And now this is set right there. So I'm going to call this 45 degree live. And I'm going to click build live tool. And I'm going to go to a file. And I'm going to add it to this file. This is a 3-turret machine over here. A bunch of these tools over here I created with this app, so it really saves a lot of time when you're on the go and you're setting up a new machine and so on and so forth. So here I'm going to put it on station number 9, and I'm going to say add adaptive item. There's a 45 degree live tool that I did. It's a little big for this machine, but we'll go with it. And I'm going to add the end mill, the same end mill that I had in the other one. So I'll just click OK. And we'll put some toolpath on here. And we'll say milling. And we're going to do some facing. And let's default it all. And we'll say over here, here's that end mill. Put some speeds and feeds. Not going to care. And then here, I'm just going to say incremental depth. I don't know, 50 thousandths. That's fine. So then we have that right there. The next card on this app is going to be the True Tool. And I've already created some tools over here, but as you know, ESPRIT doesn't show us the details of these tools. It just shows us a 2D profile. So I'm going to show you guys what I've created for this app over here. What I've done is I'm going to go to the GDML builder and open up the True Tool. I'm going to say this is an indexable mill. It is a high feed. It's going to want you to tell it each insert, choose the inserts, choose the shank over here, and then the 2D profile of the end mill, because we know this is, I actually downloaded the DXF off of the Kennametal website and then chained the cutting area and then the shank area, put it into that position, and then I put a programming radius, the flutes, the stick out, maybe we'll say 1.3, and then which holder I'm going to put it on, which I'm going to say this one over here, and I'm going to call this Dodeca. I'll call it Dodeca 1 because I already have one in there called Dodeca, so I'll just call it Dodeca 1. And then I'm going to go create. So that's going to create that tool. And as you see, it gives us it's going to give us the actual flutes and everything, and they will work. So I'm going to put in the Dodeca that I just created. So here's the Dodeca, and here is my little feed mill over here, and we can put some toolpath to this and watch it work. So we're going to say, I'm going to grab this here, and I'm going to go to facing. And I'll just create this. I'll grab this Dodeca tool right here and create there. And maybe I'll just create a contouring pass with this 250 Nml. Perfect. We got these operations. We simulate them. What we got on there? And I'll be adding more tools as the app grows. Right now, we're limited to some of the drills, end mills, uh, feed mills. We have thread mills, taps, slot. I'm going to be adding slot cutters and things like that in the future. But right now, this is what the True Tool does. The next card, it's going to be our chuck card. And what this app does is it creates chucks. So right here I already have on this one right here I wanted to do a more complex chuck to show you guys. But this one here is a shunk and it does have a master scroll. So we're gonna come here to our GDML builder. We're gonna go to Lathe, Chuck and Jaws. And here again, this model is already aligned. So I'm just going to have to pick the body. I'm going to pick the scroll. And then I'm also going to set the jaws travel limit. So I'm going to say maybe 3 inches here, maybe 3 inches, and maybe, I don't know, 4.5 inches there. And then I also want to do a precise jaw location for this particular chuck. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say that perhaps this is going to be my jaw location right there. And so here, I'm just going to call it a shunk chuck. And I'm going to build the GDML. So it built the chuck. So then we can see here, we can open up a lathe. We'll just open up this lathe over here. And I'm going to put this chuck in here. Here's the chunk. I spelled it wrong, but the chunk chuck. So here is the chuck that we just created. Now I need jaws. So here's another part of the app. Now I also included it out here as a jaw creator, but it's also inside of over here that we can access it. I put it out here because that's something that we'll probably use a lot, or I'll use a lot. So I'm going to go to the jaw creator, and the jaw creator over here creates jaws for you. But it doesn't only create jaws, it creates the soft collet, these little collet jaws. It also does guide bushings and Swiss collets. So the guide bushings, we have the different sizes over here, and we also have the Swiss collets. And these are all parametric shapes, but we also have the ability to use a chain or a solid if you have a solid of one. Here I'm going to use a jaw. And with this jaw, I have to kind of see what this chuck is. So I have to probably measure. Let me measure this real quick. I think over here, we'll go to our measurement. We'll say, I just don't remember what. So we're looking at 1.7. Okay, that's fine. And then that's probably about 4 inches or so. So let me go into my jaw creator over here. I'll call it shunk jaw. And my jaw width, I'm going to say 1.7. I'll just say 2 inches. The length, I'm going to say 4.5. Part diameter, maybe I'm just going to grab onto 2.5 right here. The diameter center, now that's going to be where this is over here. It gives you a range right here. So it knows how much you can use over here in this space. The fixture adapter, I'm going to leave it there, and the jaw thickness is I'm going to say 3 inches for this one, and I'm going to say build jaw. So now it built the jaw for this one over here, and I'm going to go to machine setup, And let's see what jaw we just created, this chunk jaw right here. And we have our jaws that I just created over here. We also have, again, for like Swiss machines and stuff. So Swiss machines, this comes really handy with these type of machines, especially when you're doing handoffs and everything. The pickups get good diameters for your collets and stuff. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the jaw creator. I'm going to go to the guide bushing. I'm going to say this is a TD32 diameter. This is in metric. It looks like I'm in metric. So I'm going to say diameter is going to say, let me say 32. So let's say 20 over here. Then the face gap, 2 millimeters, is going to be from that right there. And I'm just going to call this TD32/20 millimeter. And I'm going to say guide bushing is going to be 20 millimeter. So I just created that right there. I'm going to need a collet as well. So I'm going to go to TF37 and the bar diameter is probably going to be, I'm just going to say 25 right here. Swiss collet, I'll just call it Swiss collet 25 millimeter. Build collet, perfect. So now we go to our machine setup and we go to fixture. We got our Swiss collet here first. So we got the Swiss collet that we just created. So I'm going to go to the main spindle adapter. Here's my collet that I just created. And then I'm going to put the guide bushing, this TD32 that I just created. And I'm going to, oh, I put it on, I have to put it onto the Sagami here. And guide bushing adapter. And I have my guide bushing in here. This comes in handy because it creating these on the fly is really nice. So if I wanted to create something here for this side over here, maybe I'm going to be holding on to a very small diameter. So I can go to my jaw creator, I can go to my Swiss collet. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna say that maybe I'm only grabbing onto 10 millimeters. So I'm going to build a collet over here. Just created this collet. And I'm going to go to my machine setup and select that Swiss collet over here to our main sub spindle. And now we have our ready to program. And again, we can do these other types of collets as well, or collet soft jaws over here. Last of our cards is going to be for building vices, and this one over here, I'm gonna go to this mill vice over here. This is gonna be, I'm gonna tell it right now, add, a lot of times I like to also measure the distance between the two, so it's good for you to have the measurement over here. I'm just gonna make them up just for the demonstration, but over here, what I'm gonna do is it says add moving jaw. So any solids that are going to move with the jaw. So I'm going to select this and this, hit escape, and then I'm going to select the face of a flat face on the jaw. Then I'm going to select this one over here as a moving part and this one as a moving part, and then also tell it over here which one our face is, inside face. So then we have our two jaws. Then over here in our lower limit, I'm just gonna say -2, and I'm going to say 1.5 there. And then I'm going to pick the WA point, the workpiece adapter. So I'm just going to choose this face right there. And I'm going to call this 5th axis right here. And I'm going to say build vise over here. Perfect. Now I'm also going to choose a single moving vise, a single jaw moving vise. So we're going to choose this Kurt vise over here. Go back to the GDML. This time I'm going to say my movable is going to be this, going to be these bolts, this right here, and I think this moves with it and this moves with it over here. And then which face I'm going to do. So here I'm also going to choose I'm just going to put it here for the workpiece adapter. And again, I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to say -3. And I'll say 2 inches here just for, and here I'll say this is a Kurt vise, and we'll build it. So then we go here to a sample machine. And we'll put both vices. So I selected this 5th axis vise over here, right there. I kind of overdid the open and close, but you can measure it before you make those. And then, of course, I'm going to do the Kurt vise as well, and I put it on top of that one. Let's put it on the machine. We'll put it here. We'll move it over 10 inches. And then we have our Kurt vise right there also. I probably could have gone more. But that's basically the GDML authoring tool. We are going to add some more to this, custom fixtures, some turning tools, and aside from a lot of other productivity things that we are working on that are in the works. And this app will be available on our store when it's complete. And thank you very much. I know this video was long, but I wanted to demonstrate what we have going. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.